Don't you love living in the golden era for knives? We're seeing companies new and old innovate all the time, whether in handle materials and construction, blade steels. I mean, heck, we see new lock styles all the time. But one thing that never really gets innovated on is the classic slip joint. Even though we've seen them with modern materials, they're still your grandfather's slip joint at heart. And nobody has really changed the mechanics of it until now. Piratech has dared to do something different. And they have made a slip joint that you can easily and safely adjust exactly to your liking. I'm going to tell you all about this trippy slippy. Stick around. What it do, Kripple Krew? EDCwithDBD, disabled by Deadly. And I know we don't often feature slip joints on the channel, but today we have one that is truly innovating in that space. And I just gotta share it with you. Before we look at that Piratech Kraken Slippy, stab that like button like you mean it. Make sure that you've /subscribe and that you've bashed that bell for notifications so that you don't miss anything. So the Piratech Kraken Slippy. Piratech has been doing some really fun stuff in the knife game. Their locking models all have their MagSafe scales that you can remove and swap out if you want. And also it hides all the hardware for the knife. And those are really cool looking knives. But what we're looking at today is the Piratech Kraken Slippy, or the Slippy Kraken. And as you can see here, you get a certificate with each one of them that has each blade's independent hardness test. And if you were to take the blade out, there is 3 dots on the tang of the blade of each one showing that they have been independently verified to have this one has a hardness of 61.4 HRC, which is perfect for that S90V. Let's hear some walk and talk before we talk about specs. Ooh! All right. The Piratech Kraken Slippy Kraken, whatever, comes in at 6.815 inches overall, with a blade length of 2.874 inches, and we're featuring a harpooned drop point blade of S90V at, in this case, 61.4 HRC, with a beautiful, let me wipe that again, with my Mad Yakko Hank. Look at that beautiful satin grind on our satin finish on the hollow grind. I think that looks great. We have a horizontal satin on the flats, a vertical satin on the grind here, and then just that nice slicey hollow grind. We have a handle length of 3.92 inches. We have a blade stock thickness of 110 thousandths, and our weight is coming in at only 2.865 ounces. So we have our handle materials of titanium, and then we have this beautiful blue micarta removable inlays. And these are easy to take off. They're magnetic. They're not going to fall off for sure. The magnets are very strong, and I have to get my nail. I have to use that hole right there and get my nail under there to get it. But then you can pull these off, either to clean it, or I am guessing in the future that we will be seeing swappable inlays that you can put on here if you would like. I do think this micarta looks fantastic. As you can see, both sides come off just like that. And then you've got your hardware. And, you know, I do not, even though you can absolutely take this apart at home, to clean and maintain it and adjust it. I don't recommend disassembling your slip joints unless you know what you're doing. But I said this was adjustable, right? What if I'm saying not to work on it now? We'll get to that. That back spring is nice and flush. And then we've got a handle width, a thickness, I should say, of almost 1/2 inch. So even though it's not very large, it does fill the hand comfortably. You've got jimping running from here all the way up, which is nice to lock you in, whether you're way back here or up here. And this is a little safer than most slip joints to actually get some cutting done with your thumb on the spine because of their 118-degree half stop. So rather than having a 90-degree half stop like most, they wanted this to be a little safer if you were to accidentally close it while using it. And I do not recommend doing this at home. I'm going to show you that half stop, my finger is currently in the sharpening choil and I am not being cut. So, and if you're back here where the groove is, then you're not even going to be touched by it in that position. But even choked up, it stops before it cuts me. Don't try that at home. But if you're using the knife and it accidentally closes on you, it is much safer to have a half stop or a partial stop there rather than directly at 90. Whew. We do have a nail nick for pulling here that's, a fuller that's turned to a nail nick. And actually, there's enough there for me to pinch without using my nails. One more time on the walk and talk. Sounds fantastic. And right now, I would say it's about a 5 on the pull. But what if you wanted yours to be a little lighter or a little stronger? Well, let's close that. We're going to pop this scale off and see a little Kraken right there. You have 4 adjustable positions for the tension on your back screw. Your softest position is without, I'm going to leave the scale off for the moment just so we can adjust. Your easiest pull is going to be with no pin in there. And it's still safe. There's, it's not changing the mechanics. It's just making the pull lighter. And I'd say that's about a 3. So if you have arthritis or nerve damage in your hands and you still would like to be able to use a Slippy, then this is a good one to recommend, and just don't put the pin in. If I put it here in the middle, I am going to put this back on now because I'm adjusting. The tension's getting strong and I want the grip. I should have done that with it closed. By the way, I recommend doing that with it closed. It's not going to affect the knife one way or the other. But especially if you're increasing the tension, if you're messing with the knife, you should do it with the blade closed. So now I would say we are at much closer to like a 7, probably even an 8 on the pull. So if you really wanted to have some serious tension on your back spring, let's just say you're going to be using this for a little bit heavier duty cutting tasks. Put it there, and yeah, I'm not even going to mess with that with my hands. That's definitely a 9 or a 10, and not something that I want to try to play with too much. I found that I really like it right here in the first adjustment slot. I like it a little stronger than it comes, you know, straight out the box without the pin in there. And that pull feels really good at that first position. Ergos on this are awesome. The way that they have designed the spring in the back, it's a recurved spring that lets the handle swell out this way a little bit, and it just makes it fill your palm very comfortably. I wear an extra large size glove, and even though it's less than a 4-inch handle, I can get a full 4-finger grip in that finger groove back here, well behind the pivot, and in a safe position to use this. It's comfortable in a saber grip here. If you were to choke up on this, you could fit a 2X or even a 3X gloved hand on there probably. But honestly, where I would be using this the most is in like a utility style position. That poon works great to get the tip down and use it for precision work, or a pinch grip. That's probably where I would be cutting with this. However, if you're slicing with it, it is very comfortable. The S90V is very slicey, and S90V is going to hold that edge for a long time. This is also going to be highly corrosion resistant. That sounds good. I think this is a wicked cool slip joint. Oh, I just bonked the camera with my hat. Oh, just to point out what you get with it, I should show this. Besides the leather key tag, the cleaning cloth, a little leather Kraken patch, you also get the leather slip with the Piratech logo on it. And I like this dark brown leather with the white stitching. It really stands out. The stitching looks like it is done well. By the way, these are OEM'd by Bestech. I did not mention that. Yeah, that stitching looks really good. It's a nice, really supple leather. So you've got a great slip for dropping this in your pocket. And then you've got the wicked cool Slippy Kraken. Piratech Slippy Kraken. I just love the way that they've done the lines on this. It looks unlike any other slip joint to me. Here's another slip joint from my collection. This is the Big Knives Large Sheepfoot Slippy, which is going to be a little bit larger than our Kraken. A couple other quick size comparisons. How about a Spyderco PM3 and TRM Neutron 2? As you can see, it's going to be a little shorter than both of those. But do you already carry a slip joint? If so, what do you think about the innovation that Piratech has going on here with both the MagSafe scales, not both. There's a lot that they've done here. The MagSafe scales, the adjustable tension. You've got a recurved back spring to allow for a more comfortable handle. There's just a lot that they have done here. Look at that crown spine up here towards the tip. Beautiful blade shape. This, like I said, definitely is not your grandfather's Slippy. And you are going to pay a premium price for it. So these come in at $265. And right now, the current only option is with these beautiful blue micarta scales. Denim Micarta. But Again, I think in the future they'll probably have swappable inlays to put in this. But $265 for titanium, beautiful S90V blade, the swappable inlays, the goodies you get. I do think it is a fair price. So the camera stopped, and there was a couple other things that I did want to point out before I end this review. I do like that the billboarding is kept off of the blade, and I do not mind at all having the Kraken down here or Piratech in that scale there. I think it looks pretty good. The S90V is kept underneath in the sharpening choil, and that sharpening choil is also something I wanted to point out. Your blade, the plunge grind termination is way back in here. So all of this is sharpening life. You're going to be able to carry this, especially with S90V and the edge retention that it's going to get, meaning you can sharpen it much less frequently. This is a knife you're going to be able to carry for decades to come. I think that is done phenomenally well. One of the best sharpening choils I've seen on a slip joint. But, again, drop your thoughts below. I want to know, what do you think? I hope everybody has a killer day, night, morning, evening, whatever it is, wherever you are. Until next time, folks, stay safe, stay frosty, but most importantly, stay deadly.